Thank you, Jenny, for your service. And that was a good break, especially after all the internet problems that we have. But we're back. We have our next section, and we're still in Africa. We'll do another presentation from a lady. She's from Nigeria. I've known this lady. This is one of the youngest Urantia Book reader I know of, because she's 16. She comes from Nigeria. And when we started Urantia Book activities in Ghana, conferences and all that, her father, who is a reader in Nigeria, used to bring her, to, because this years ago, years ago, and she'll still be mingling with us. She'll sit in our meetings and hear her, but she was very young. Today, she's here with us and she's going to be a presenter. And Maya Anazodo is from Nigeria. Maya is 16 years old, reader from the Urantia Book. Maya, if you are ready, you can unmute and give us your presentation.
Hello, everyone. Maya Anazodo. I'm from Nigeria and I'm 16 years old. The title of my presentation is Yardsticks for Spiritual Growth. Next slide. Next. We are wired to be godlike. I would like to start my presentation by quoting Paper 1, Section 0.3. Quote, "The enlightened worlds all recognize and worship the universal Father, the eternal Maker, and the infinite upholder of all creation. The will creatures of universe upon universe have embarked upon the long, long paradise journey, the fascinating struggle of the eternal adventure of attaining God the Father. The transcendent goal of the children of time is to find the eternal God, to comprehend the divine nature, to recognize the universal Father. God-knowing creatures have only one supreme ambition, and that is to become as they are in their spheres, like Him as He is in His universe, sphere of righteous supremacy. From the universal Father who inhabits eternity, there has gone forth a supreme mandate. Be you perfect, even as I am perfect. In love and mercy, the messengers of time have carried this divine exhortation down through the ages and out through the universes, even to such lowly animal origin creatures as the human races of Urantia." End of quote. All human beings have within them a compelling, burning desire to be like God. We, without even realizing it, strive to become better people in life. We begin to grow spiritually and gradually become godlike. We are all truth-seeking mortals, and we are all seeking to find God to become like Him. Man cannot truly be happy until he is treading that path that takes him on a journey to become as perfect as God is. We begin to have more and more spiritual experiences and begin to grow in experience of spiritual growth. When we keep taking this path of truth-seeking and God-finding, we will naturally become religious. We will get better at living the spiritual life. We will get more established on the spiritual path. We will grow and become religious. Our way of living will change drastically. Our method of doing things will improve for the better. We will keep having spiritual experiences and keep maturing until we are eventually perfect like God. We cannot hold in that desire, that urge to find God, to understand Him, and become like Him. We will be happy from within when we are undertaking this journey to become like God. We will have that peace that surpasses all understanding. Even when we have common everyday difficulties of living, we will still be happy. And that is because We are on that path that takes us on a journey to become like God. Next slide, please. The religious life. Paper 100, section 0.1, quote, the experience of dynamic religious living transforms the mediocre individual into a personality of idealistic power. Religion ministers to the progress of all through fostering the progress of each individual, and the progress of each is augmented through the achievement of all. End of quote. Everyone is religious in one way or another. Everyone is devoted to something. Following the paths that we are wired to follow leads us to live a religious life. We are worshipful by nature. We are naturally religious beings. Paper 100, section 2.4, quote, spirituality becomes at once the indicator of one's nearness to God and the measure of one's usefulness to fellow beings. Spirituality enhances the ability to discover beauty in things, recognize truth in meanings, and discover goodness in values. Spiritual development is determined by the capacity, therefore, and is directly proportional to the elimination of the selfish qualities of love. End of quote. When we are living a religious life, we begin to discover the beauty in things, people, and even oneself. We will be able to appreciate the beauty in things that seemed insignificant to us before. We will be able to recognize the truth in meanings, and by the presence and ministration of our thought adjusters, we'll be able to understand the truth in those meanings. We will also be able to see the goodness there is in values. Everything that we do will be true, holy, and beautiful. In every person we see, we will recognize God in them. Everything that we touch will become holy. We will have the Midas touch. Everything, person, or object we lay our hands on will become beautiful. The Midas touch, I got this from the story, King Midas' legend. Midas was a man who wished that everything he touched would turn to gold. The point I'm trying to make here is that when we live a spiritual life, anywhere we are and anything we do, we will leave behind a spiritual fragrance. Everywhere we go, people will be attracted by us. They will feel comfortable around us. They will enjoy the fragrance of spiritual fruits that we are bearing. In my school, there is this one female teacher that I like so much. If you ask me to describe her, I would say she's kind, forgiving, peaceful, and I feel very comfortable around her. In class, I've never heard or seen her punish anyone, and it's almost like she doesn't have to, because everyone is willing to do whatever she tells us to do. When she asks me to do something, there is this feeling that I have. I feel like doing it from deep within me. I feel like I will do whatever this woman tells me to do. It's like there is this kind of charm in her voice that makes us wholeheartedly want to do that thing. But I know that it's because she bears the fruit of the Spirit. This is the kind of feeling that you get around people that are growing spiritual and are living a religious life. And their presence adds values to others. Others will improve and grow spiritually around them. Their character is kind of contagious. When people live like this, they will gradually begin to love unconditionally and unselfishly. They will lose all traits of selfishness in their love. They will love all things, appreciate all values, and have more spiritual experiences and keep growing spiritually. Next slide, please. The 7 psychic circles. The psychic circles. One way that the universe measures our spiritual growth is by using the 7 psychic circles. The 7 psychic circles is the universe's grading system, which is used to measure our personality status, attainment of mind, the growth of our soul, and adjuster achievement. Paper 110, section 6.21. The 7 circles embrace mortal experience, extending from the highest purely animal level. Sorry? Paper 110, section 6.21. The 7 psychic circles.
Thank you.
Hello?
Sorry, Maya, go on. I thought I lost you, so go on, okay?
Okay. Paper 110, section 6.21. Quote, the 7 circles embrace mortal experience, extending from the highest purely animal level to the lowest actual contactual morontial level of self-consciousness as a personality experience. The mastery of the first circle signalizes the attainment of pre-morontial mortal maturity and marks the termination of the conjoint ministry of the adjutant's mind spirit as an exclusive influence of mind action in the human personality. Beyond the first circle, mind becomes increasingly akin to the intelligence of the morontial stage of evolution, the conjoint ministry of the cosmic mind and the super adjutant endowment of the creative spirit of a local universe. End of quote. Paper 110, section 6.13. The 7th circle. This level is entered when human beings develop the powers of personal choice, individual decision, moral responsibility, and the capacity for the attainment of spiritual individuality. This signifies the united function of the 7 adjutant mind spirits under the direction of the spirit of wisdom, the executement of the mortal creature in the influence of the Holy Spirit, and on Urantia, the first functioning of the Spirit of Truth, together with the reception of the thought adjuster in the mortal mind. Entrance upon the 7th circle constitutes a mortal creature, a truly potential citizen of the local universe. End of quote. The lowest level of the psychic circles is the 7th circle. When we are in this circle, we have developed the powers of personal choice, individual decision, moral responsibility, and the capacity for the attainment of spiritual individuality. And as we ascend the circles, we will grow the connection we have with our thought adjuster until we become one. As we ascend up the 7th circle to the 3rd circle, we will achieve personality reality. Paper 110, section 6.14. The 3rd circle. The adjuster's work is much more effective after the human ascender attains the 3rd circle and receives a personal seraphic guardian of destiny. While there is no apparent concert of effort between the adjuster and the seraphic guardian, nonetheless, there is to be observed an unmistakable improvement in all phases of cosmic achievement and spiritual development subsequent to the assignment of personal seraphic attendants. When the 3rd circle is attained, the adjuster endeavors to morontialize the mind of man and during the remainder of the mortal lifespan to make the remaining circles and achieve the final stage of divine human association before natural death dissolves the unique partnership. End of quote. When the 3rd circle is attained, we are finally assigned a personal seraphim, a personal seraphic guardian of destiny. Along the path from the 3rd circle to the 1st circle, during this time, our soul evolves. Paper 110, section 6.18. The mastery of the cosmic circles is related to the quantitative growth of the morontial soul, the comprehension of supreme meanings. But the qualitative status of this immortal soul is wholly dependent on the grasp of living faith upon the paradise potential fact value that mortal man is a son of the eternal God. Therefore, does a 7th circular go on to the mansion worlds to attain further quantitative realization of cosmic growth, just as does a 2nd or even a 1st circular. End of quote. Paper 110, 6.15. The first circle. The adjuster cannot ordinarily speak directly and immediately with you until you attain the first and final circle of progressive mortal achievement. This level represents the highest possible realization of a mind-adjuster relationship in the human experience prior to the liberation of the evolving moral soul from the habiliments of the material body. Concerning the mind, emotions, and cosmic insights, this achievement of the first psychic circles is the nearest possible approach to the material mind and the spirit adjuster in human experience. End of quote. When we attain the first circle on earth, we will naturally become one with our adjuster. We will become one with our adjuster. We will no longer need to die the physical death. We will just translate like Elijah did in the Bible. I don't know if it's Elijah, but okay. Your adjuster will not be able to speak directly to you until you attain the first circle. Now, all these psychic circles is how our spiritual growths are measured by the universe. We are not just left out or forgotten. Everything that has value in the universe is measured. Every value is kept. This is a very important thing to know. Nothing is ever wasted or not accounted for. Next slide, please. Spiritual fruits. Next slide. Yeah, spiritual fruits. The 7 psychic circles is how the universe measures our spiritual growth. But how are we measured by our fellow human beings? How can we know that this person is spiritual, that that person has this level of spirituality? Now, we are able to measure spiritual growth of others and ourselves by the fruits we bear. When we see someone that is kind and loving, we will be able to tell that that person is spiritual and that person is bearing the fruits of the Spirit. Now, I'm going to tell this story of the Good Samaritan. I'm going to quote it from paper 164, 1.3. Said Jesus, a certain man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell into the hands of cruel brigands who robbed him, stripped him, and beat him, and departing left him half dead. Very soon, by chance, a certain priest was going that way, and when he came upon the wounded man, seeing his sorry plight, he passed on the other side of the road. And a Levite also, when he came along and saw the man, passed on the other side. Now, about this time, a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed down to Jericho, came across this wounded man, and when he saw how he had been robbed and beaten, he was moved with compassion, and going over to him, he bound up his wounds, pouring oil and wine, and setting the man upon his own beast, brought him to the inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, he took out some money, giving it to the host, said, "Take good care of my friend, and if the expense is more, when I come back, I will repay you." End of quote. The Samaritan in this parable is a very good example of a person that bears spiritual fruit. This guy saw a person that was a total stranger, that was nearly beaten to death, and felt touched to help him. Other people passed by and saw the same condition of that man, but didn't want to get involved in his problem. They rather left him there to die. But that Samaritan passed by and saw the man that was robbed and beaten and could not just imagine himself living without helping. The Samaritan reacted differently to the situation because he understands a lot of things. He sees God in that fellow human being, in that fellow person, and it is not part of his nature to see somebody beaten up like that in that situation and live without doing anything to help. The Samaritan obviously bears the fruits of the Spirit. He showed loving service to a complete stranger who was in need, and even went out of his way to help him survive. This is the same kind of characteristics that people who bear the fruits of the Spirit show. Some people might not be as spiritual as others. Jesus taught his apostles about bearing the fruit of the Spirit. Paper 182.1. Then Jesus stood up again. Quote, then Jesus stood up again and continued teaching his apostles. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. I am the vine, and you are the branches. And the Father requires of me that you shall bear much fruit. The vine is pruned only to increase the fruitfulness of its branches. Every branch coming out of me, which bears no fruit, the Father will take away. Every branch which bears fruit, the Father will cleanse, that it may bear more fruit. Already are you clean through the words I have spoken. But you must continue to be clean. You must abide in me, and I in you. The branch will die if it is separated from the vine, as the branch cannot bear fruit except it abides in the vine. So neither can you yield the fruits of loving service except you abide in me. Remember, I am the real vine, and you are the living branches. He who lives in me and I in him will bear much fruit of the Spirit and experience the supreme joy of yielding the spiritual harvest. If you maintain this connection with me, you will bear abundant fruit. If you abide in me and my words live in you, you will be able to commune freely with me. And then can my living spirit so infuse that you may ask whatever my spirit wills, and do all this with the assurance that the Father will grant us petition. Herein is the Father glorified, that the vine has many living branches, and that every branch bears much fruit. And when the world sees these fruits-bearing branches, friends who love one another, even as I have loved them, all men will know that you are truly my disciples. End of quote. So now you see that there is work in bearing the fruit of the Spirit. There is work that you have to put in the experience of spiritual growth. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. The ultimate measure. Love is the ultimate measure of spiritual growth. You cannot bear the fruits of the Spirit if you do not already have love from within you. All the fruits of the Spirit are components of love. They cannot exist without love. You cannot be kind if you don't have love. Kindness without love is just pretense. You cannot traverse the psychic circles until you develop the capacity for more love. The fruits of the Spirit are a manifestation of our capacity to love more. In conclusion, I will urge all of us to go about doing whatever we have to do with much love. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. That was a wonderful presentation. I don't know about the rest, but I am really feeling the presence and the spirit actually delivering something to all of us on this conference today. This is a 16-year-old Urantia Book reader from Nigeria. And I can remember the days that she comes to visit the conferences, and today she's delivering.